My name's Presley.
And I'm what gave this guy a sexual problem.
And this is...
The Height of Horror. Presley, finally you didn't go, oh no. I did not write down an intro for this episode, so I was like, what was something I could say in this? And that's what I came up with.
You have a better memory than me because I don't recall that happening.
Oh, it was a nonstop joke of like, oh yeah, this guy, he was in Vegas.
This guy,
yeah.
the main yeah. Yeah, okay.
And hey guys, welcome to season 2 of The Height of Horror.
We did it.
Hooray, Valesimo.
Woohoo.
We went through 1998 and did a detour with Halloween Ends. We did it. Hooray.
And nobody asked for this, but we're back.
Yes, literally, please, to the 3 or 4 people listening, show a friend. I'm guesting on maybe a horror podcast. Details later. Then we'll be able to cross promo and maybe we'll get some more listeners.
Cross-moginations, I see.
Mm-hmm. Maybe someday I'll get back on Horror Corridor.
Yeah, no, I was thinking, and it's just a rough time in our lives for me and Ian right now.
Because you got a kid who bites now.
Yeah, no, I was like, Ian, what happened to your shoulder? Because it was all red and there were scabs, and he's like, I don't know. And then he's like, wait, Jack bit me. Remember?
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
It's weird how you guys needed to remember that a child bit you.
It's so often. He is violent. I don't know.
Just start putting cayenne all over you.
One time I bit him back, but he left.
No, that's diabolical.
I read you're supposed... Well, maybe not. Maybe that's really outdated. But you're supposed to do it back so they know it hurts.
Yeah, I do that to Henry, our cat.
Oh, maybe that's what I'm talking about. It's for dogs.
Bite your dog back, okay, guys? My sister used to just put the cat's head in her mouth.
I feel like I've seen that done before, too.
I mean, she didn't bite down. It was just a quick, ow.
Yeah. No.
It was a good, fun time. But speaking of good, fun times, oh my God, we do need to get into things today because listeners, if you are one of the 3 or 4 listeners and you listen right at 7 p.m., you will have noticed, hey, it's a little late. That's because I'm doing this movie's gay style where we used to, it would come out on Mondays and we would record at 5 p.m. Sunday, get done at 6, and I'd have it ready by 7.
Good God.
Yes, I praise him too.
If he was real, I would.
Presley just yawned, so that was the long break. I thought you were going to be like, God, that's pretty cool, James. But no, it's just, God.
No, I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
But God, I'm tired too.
Same. I've been at a convention all weekend. Nicole and I tabled. More details about that on patreon.com/MLM pod this week. Because also last week, when Nicole and I recorded, we did KaiJULY Con 2023. Hey, you were a part of that last year.
Yeah, we were. It was fun.
Mm-hmm. Where we record, within 2 nights, we record live on Twitch, 4 episodes of Mostly Speaking Sentai. And then I try to edit all of them within a day or 2. And boy, oh boy, don't.
I don't know. You don't stop, and that's what I appreciate about you.
I can't. Also, I'm getting my wisdom teeth out in a couple days, so I have to just keep going up until then. And then it's like, well, James, you know all those movies you want to watch? You can now.
And get very stoned.
Oh, well, the first 2 days they recommend do not do that.
Like edibles, too?
Yeah. Just because sometimes it could make you anxious, but you want to know what? No, I think I'd have to swallow the edible, can't chew it, and then see what happens.
Yeah, gamble.
Especially for going to sleep. I'm going to want to pass out.
Exactly.
But speaking of sleep, oh man, that happens at night. You want to know what else is night? The fortnight of horror, Presley.
I have not watched a lot, but just actually on Friday and Saturday morning, I watched Beau Is Afraid.
What's that?
It's the new Ari Aster movie.
Oh man, that dude did Hereditary.
And Midsummer, yeah.
Oh man, it's there. It's once I watched Hereditary, I'm like, this man is a master at his craft, but no, thank you.
Joaquin Phoenix is the main character in this one, and a lot of other random people. But oh my god, I can't. I'm still processing it. But I said, "What the fuck?" like 20 times.
Hell yeah.
It's not a horror movie, in my opinion. It's like a nightmare. It's just a fucking nightmare, and it's 3 hours long. So know that going into it. But it was beautifully shot, and I would probably watch it again. But it's random. It's so random. It's like a weird dream you can't wake up from. It's like a lucid dream.
Okay.
Hell yeah.
Anything else?
No.
Okay, I got a few. We watched The Burning for the first time with a watch along with We Love Trash, and there are times when it's like, when it comes to light that they're a terrible person, it's like, well, their art isn't really glorifying or referencing how a shitty person they were, but there are a few people who do. And The Burning was co-written, or at least the story was co-written by Weinstein. And that movie is like, there's some like, women are constantly saying, no, I don't want to do this. And the men keep going. And it's like, okay, it sucks that this man co-wrote this and that element is in there because there's some great stuff in it.
And he's just hard as the Dickens the whole time.
His gristle of a chud.
Ew.
Or his chode, I should say.
See, I was going to make like, oh, did he do a bunch of rapey stuff in it? Kind of, but he did, evidently.
Yes. Uh-huh.
That's fucked.
Yeah, that part's not good, but there's this scene. Have you seen it?
No.
Oh, it's on Amazon Prime. It's a good watch. It's besides.
I don't have Amazon Prime.
It's I think on Tubi.
Oh, see, I watch a lot of shit on Tubi at work.
Okay, then throw it on Tubi. I mean, what are you watching? Can you watch a horror movie at work on Tubi?
I watched Frankenhooker.
Okay. Are you Are you in just a windowless room?
Kind of like. Okay, there's our main facility, and then you walk over, and I thank them every day for this. I don't, but we had to switch a lot of things around because we're a huge growing business. So I'm in like they're like bays, like garages and stuff. So I'm across the lot, and that's our bag making area now, and it's just like a table and bags, and you're in there alone mostly. So I started watching movies to kill the time when I'm making bags.
Well, check out The Burning if it's still on Tubi, because there's this great eerie, the kills are fantastic. Go check it out. Then the other movies I watched, Blood Beach, that one, not that great. Also, I watched the Gwar movie, which you can hear me talk about that in detail this week on Mostly Speaking Sentai, their first one, Phallus in Wonderland. And for the Patreon, Nicole and I watched the original The Wicker Man.
Oh, did you like it?
It fucking rules.
It is a nightmare that I want to have every night.
It's so, I mean, that's not a nightmare. All those people fucking on the beach is bad because you're getting it in your hoo-ha areas.
Ew.
So that's bad. But as long as you're not the outsider, you're good.
Yeah, totally.
And boy, oh boy, that dude sucked. He was asking to be sacrificed, coming in saying, oh, I'm a Christian man. We did a watch along of it, so you can hear our reactions in real time, and I was stoned. So
fuck yeah.
It rules. And then, technically we also watched Uncle Sam. Lil Corey and I, we did that for a watch along. If you haven't seen Uncle Sam Presley, oh baby. It's on Shudder. It's on Tubi. It's from 1996. It rules. And the last one we watched, the last act of it is a horror. There's at least one scene in it, and you told me to watch it. Finally watched Showgirls.
Ugh. Did I tell you? I'm sorry I told you to do that.
Presley, what are you talking about? Nicole and I, it's one of our favorite movies. Besides,
no, it's not.
Besides the scene that we straight up, like once it started, we were like, fuck this, and started fast forwarding it to, it's the R word scene.
Isn't that violent and long and unnecessary in every single way?
Yeah, the one part we saw, which was like once she gets punched, we're like, no, thank you. And then we fast forward it to where she busts out and she's just like, there's what we have seen in the movie. Building up does not get us to that scene. It gets us to the part where she like pushes the other lady down. That's fine. But I love movies set in Las Vegas in like the late 80s through the 90s. I love Vegas. It's beautiful, fantastic. So I think that's really why it and oh my God, this movie is so horny.
Yeah, like that the pool scene.
The pool scene, and when she's giving him a private lap dance and just you see labia nonstop.
Like Jesse from Saved by the Bell. What are you doing?
The movie rocks, guys. I recommend it to everyone. However, once the friend goes in the hotel room with the like basketball dude or whatever, the sportsman or maybe a singer.
Isn't he a wrestler?
He's a boxer maybe. It's at the end. Once that happens, do not wait to see what happens. Just skip forward. Hopefully the seeking little thing, it's on Tubi right now, shows you what's kind of happening, but in a very small window, and then wait till they're in a hospital.
No, but when you think it's over, it's not.
Yes.
So keep fast forwarding.
Yes. Wait till you see hospital gowns. And then you're good.
Oh my God. Yeah. I hate you.
But besides that, I thought you told us to watch it because it's like baffling. And we were like, we were waiting for it to get like campy and whatnot. And we were like, what is Presley and everyone else talking? This is just a really good movie.
I don't remember this conversation. So
it was recorded, guys.
Well, I'm glad you did. I'm glad you got that off your movie bucket list.
Mm-hmm. Man, so fucking hot, that entire movie.
Oh, she does nails. It's the most random story. I can't. It's so ridiculous.
And it's well written, guys. Check it out.
The acting is incredible.
Oh, God, I love it.
And Kyle MacLachlan's sprinkled in there. It's so random.
And he's also in Flintstones.
That is a cinematic masterpiece.
I gotta rewatch that.
That's the one with Halle Berry and John Goodman.
Yes.
So good.
So good.
So good.
I mean, another horror movie. I rewatched Troll 2 falling asleep, but that's usually a monthly thing. But speaking of movies, I mean, that's the entire podcast.
Yeah.
Speaking of things, let's discuss today's movie, Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh, released direct-to-video in 1991, but filmed during the summer of 1988. Presley, initial thoughts before I get into history and notes and trivia?
I was intrigued when you told me Tom Savini did the effects,
Mm-hmm.
and you can tell.
Yeah.
Everything else, though, ridiculous.
Yes, and a lot of people likened this to like Airplane or Naked Gun of horror movies. And yeah, like this is, and it's crazy that this is 1988. And originally I was like, this is when horror movies, they're starting to either be like, they're becoming a parody of themselves, and slasher movies specifically are waning. This is around the time when Takes Manhattan will be about going. And that's like finding out this was 88, not even after Takes Manhattan, was crazy because this feels so fresh and so like ahead of its time. This is before Scary Movie, not Scary Movie 1991, which we will get to later on this year. But yeah, I really enjoyed this, and I'm excited to talk about it.
Me too. In the grand scheme of things, I did not hate it.
Oh yeah, I watched it twice, so guys, check it out. All right. Bloodsucking Pharaohs in Pittsburgh is the real title of a movie with no Wikipedia page, but god damn it, it deserves it. BSPIP is a true-to-life horror comedy with heaps of giallo that hits all the right marks. It leads you into a state of surrealness because you keep forgetting what the movie is, but like young Bob in SLC Punk said, it doesn't matter what it is, it's new. Have you seen SLC Punk?
I was just about to say I've never seen SLC Punk.
Have you had friends and family die from drugs and alcohol, such stuff?
My brothers.
Okay, yeah, then do not watch the movie.
So just by saying that, I'm going to watch the movie.
Man, it was one of my favorite movies, and when one of my friends died that way, and then many others have now, I can't watch that. And Sean Marciniak on Sweaty Time Pro Wrestling and Shuffling the Deck has referenced that like a final line in it. And the first time he did it, I was like, dude, you can't do that. Like that will start making me cry. And he does it. Sean forgets everything he says on the show. But I remember everything because I edit it, and he will bring that up. And I'm like, dude, it's the only time I've ever gotten mad at him. I'm like, I have told you this. I will start crying if you start saying those lines. And he's like, oh, wait, really? And I'm like, we've had this conversation, you dumbass. But yeah, watch SLC Punk. It's probably on Tubi.
Oh, okay.
Let me know what you think.
It has Matthew Lillard in it.
Yes, he's fantastic in it. Also watch Ghoulies 3. Ghoulies Go to College. He's in that too. All right. An estimated budget of $250,000. The director, Dean Shetay, who went on to work on graphics and production designs in movies like Barney's Big Surprise, Disney's Mary Poppins Returns, and Len Wiseman's vampiric epic Underworld. At first, he did not enjoy what the producers did to the final product of the film and asked his name to be removed from the picture, leading to some promotional items stating the director as Alan Smithee, which is a common pseudonym for directors displeased by the movie. It is a process to do and usually only permitted when the films are recut heavily without the approval of the director. I could have Googled, like, what are the most known Alan Smithee directed? But what happens is, like, generally all the guilds will be like, hey, the director is the helm. If you think the movie's bad, you need to take responsibility for that. But it's a process to submit and be like, hey, I do not approve of any of the stuff. I was shut out of the editing room. I don't want this. And if it says Alan Smithee, the Directors Guild is throwing a lot of shade at the producers.
That's a fun fact.
Uh-huh. So this film was shot on location in Lawrenceville, in the Lawrenceville neighborhood of Pittsburgh. When I posted about this movie in the Dumpscord, the Discord server for the podcast We Love Trash, fellow member Callie said she saw this in a theater in Pittsburgh, and as a Pittsburgh native, loved being able to pick out all of the locations.
That's fun.
Mm-hmm. And as we said, the gore effects were done by Tom Savini, who I think also did the gore effects in The Burning.
So there's a movie, I think we talked about this. There's a movie called The Necrophiles.
Yep.
And it was part of it was filmed in Olympia, and it's really weird to watch.
Oh, hell yeah. I love seeing movies shot in Chicago, and you see stuff from there. And there's been a couple movies shot in Grand Rapids, Michigan, which is like the closest big city to where I grew up. And I grew up in Grand Rapids for a little bit. So being able to pick out stuff there, I'm like, oh, I know that. Pew, 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 pew. Mm-hmm. Also, Susan Fletcher, who plays Dee Dee Taylor in this movie, is a Broadway actor, and damn can she act. Holy shit.
Did you see that one of the characters is a pornographic artist?
No.
As well? Yeah, the main lady, Jane something.
I'm guessing the smoker or the blood-sucking pharaoh?
I think the smoker.
Oh, hell yeah.
Whoever Grace was.
Grace, I think, was the smoker.
Okay, Jane Hamilton. Yeah, her triple X name is Veronica Hart.
Hell yeah. I forgot what movie we were watching. Oh, it was Shark Side of the Moon on Tubi TV, and we were discussing it. And I kept thinking, like, man, the woman who's like a really good actress, where do I know her from? And on the podcast, I was like, hey, guys, I found out where I know this person from. And they're like, oh, what? Nicole and our friend Mars. I was like, I have masturbated to her many times because she is a porn star. And they're like, Jesus Christ, James. But let's get into reviews of this. IMDb reviews. I pulled 2 of those and 2 letterboxed ones. First, IMDb says, waste of 90 minutes of your life. This is from R Wagon 25 from April 2003. This film was a waste of 90 minutes of your life. Wait, why not say my life? Okay, originally titled Picking Up the Pieces. The production values are terrible, the acting is horrendous, the characters unlikable, and the story is lame. For God's sakes, one of the leads, oh wait, how didn't I know this, is Jane Hamilton, aka porno star Veronica Hart, and does she bare her flesh? Heck no. And I say to that, boo.
Boo.
Like, actors can just be actors, guys. They don't need to you want Harrison Ford to say, I know, in every single movie or whatever he does when so-and-so says, I love you?
Yes.
You do want him to say that. He's in The Fugitive and he says, I know, or he says, like, hit into hyperdrive, Chewie, in Indiana Jones and the Crystal Skull.
Yeah.
Okay. Dang it. I should have picked a different actor. I only pulled the title of a review from February 2000, which is simply Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers in Pittsburgh. And that, if you have not seen Hollywood Chainsaw Hookers, everyone watch that movie. I've talked about it before.
I will get on top of that.
It rips. Guess what? Where can you watch it?
Tubi. I'll watch it at work tomorrow.
There's so many boobies in it.
Okay, so like same thing with Frankenhooker. I kept like looking over my shoulder, like is someone coming? Yeah.
Okay, in Mission Impossible, Simon Pegg, when he's playing video games at his high-tech computer job, he has mirrors, kind of like that you would have at a convenience store to see if anyone's stealing, set up mirrors so you can constantly see behind you. So you don't need to look over your shoulder to make sure no one's there.
Oh, smart.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, it's a difficult room.
Okay.
Because there's like, it's a garage, right? But they built in a little insulated area for our t-shirts that aren't even there anymore. So there's this random ass window, but I sit over on the corner where I'm not in view of the window, so they can't see what I'm doing if they walk in. But that's a disadvantage to me because I have to like shimmy and like, who's there? You know what I mean?
If they can't see you, what you're watching, I think you're good.
No, it gets really awkward because if someone walks in and then I just like grab my phone really quick and like shut it off and I'm like, hey, so it's like, you watching porn? But I'm not. I'm just being stupid.
You're like, back when this was released in like 87, it could technically be considered porn, you know, if like a teen boy got a hold of it. But I'm not watching for the boobies, I swear.
Yeah, it's strictly gore.
You're like, okay, well, I'm watching for the boobies, but not like in a sexual way.
But also in a sexual way.
It's just like really cool to see like women be empowered and have blood sprayed from a chainsaw into their boobs.
Yes.
All right, let's get into some Letterboxd reviews. Guys, guess what? That was not an edit. That just flowed smoothly from me saying blood on my boobs to this. Okay. 2.5 stars from Saint Hooligan from 2023. They say, it's a movie that isn't as good as the title suggests. It was just a little too silly for my liking. It's weird, it's trashy, and poorly acted. It borrows a bit too much from the Naked Gun films with its humor. It's never really funny or very scary, just kind of middle of the road. End of the thing. And I'm saying, like, Saint Hoolie, what do you want then? And I looked at their profile. One of their favorite movies is Thrashin'.
I'm so mad at that review. I'm so mad. Like, what else do you expect with this title?
Also, like, it's weird and trashy and poorly acted. You should expect that. Also, I was expecting this to be absolutely trash in a bad way, and this is trash in a good way.
It's like the golden trash. It's like when you're dumpster diving and you find like an uneaten sandwich.
Yeah.
Yes. It's so much better than that stupid review.
Yeah.
Damn that person to hell.
Also, real quick, everyone, you can watch this in beautiful 1080p on YouTube right now for free, no ads. Go watch it. Trust me, you will enjoy it. And then finally, last review, 4 stars from Zandor Kubasa from 2022. They say, this goofball with red sauce kind of helped me quit smoking for good. Unfortunately, since then, I got a habit for scantily clad ladies with chainsaws and tomato salmon casserole. But what doesn't kill you makes you laugh for another day, right? I like that review. They know what's up. All right, then let's get into this bad boy. It opens up and it really sets the mood. We're at like a lover's lane type deal, make out point. Did you have something in that in your town?
Ew, kind of.
Ugh.
We had a couple me and Ian were just talking last night about Wolf Point and how everyone shamelessly fucks one another. And I told him that at one point it was the #1 county in Montana of chlamydia and STDs.
No.
Yeah. And if you caught an STD, the clinic would call you and they would make you give them names of people you slept with, because then they had to call the person and tell them.
Oh, that sucks for the person having to call.
Yeah. So it was a wild. So basically anywhere was a fuck zone.
Okay.
One of my friends, I was just kind of talking to this guy and he came. Oh my God. Okay, I won't use names, but someone came to see me one night because we were like just cute and talking, and we were like outside my house, like cuddling and talking. And one of my friends went and sat in this truck because he had 2 friends in his truck waiting for him. So my friend goes and sits in the truck and just gets fucking railed by these 2 guys.
Like, she was down for it, or?
Yeah.
Okay.
Willingly, was like, let's fuck.
Hell yeah. See,
and it was like outside my house.
Oh, wait, you lived at Wolf Point? Is that what it was called?
Yeah, no, the town is Wolf Point.
Oh, okay. I like Wolf Point sounds like Makeout Peak or something. So I thought this was like a specific area of a town, but it's just the entire town.
Anywhere you can get a little bit of privacy is Makeout Point.
Okay. We had like Sweeter Road, which was a 2-track that people would just go down as far back as they could. And then there was this clearing. They would jam music. I went once and it's not my scene. It was a bunch of dudes coming up. They're like, yo, man, I heard you rap. I'm pretty good at freestyling. And I just go, oh, so like, when do you freestyle? And he's like, yo, man, when I'm just like smoking weed and drinking 40s with my buds. And I'm like, yeah, see, you think you're good because you only freestyle when you're inebriated. And then I walked away.
Ooh.
One time, I said that on an old podcast that is no longer available, What the Hell Mouth, and the co-host Anissa was like, oh, wait, were they white? And I was like, yeah, they were white. And she's like, okay, yeah, if you would have said that to like any of my friends, they would have beat your ass. And I was like, no, they were right rappers. And then she's like, yeah, so yeah, they were probably really bad.
Yeah, fair enough.
But then we had like houses that were like designated the parents do not care or aren't paying attention to children, so you can go over there and finger bang all you want.
Yeah, I feel like we've had a couple. It was a lawless land.
Mm-hmm.
It was, yeah.
I'll throw out names. Jamie's house.
I wish I could.
Jamie's house, that was a finger bang house. Tyler Wright's house was a finger bang house. Adam Samples, to an extent, yeah, I'll use first and last name. Oh, wait, I have been using first and last names. Yeah, there were quite a bit. Chris Wynn's was kind of, I never did, but it was.
Ew. I think our house was one of those.
Ruh-roh.
Yeah, we were pretty rough.
One of the people in my house was constantly, I won't say getting or giving the fingerings, but someone might have been, you know.
How many siblings do you have?
I have 2 siblings.
I love your sister, by the way.
1 male, 1 female. It's the one you know. And she was doing the fingering. She's like, I'm just trying to sound as many men as I can. It runs in the family. We're just trying to finger bang as much as possible.
I respect it.
All right. We have not even a full note done.
Wow.
So it's panning across to this makeout point, and we're hearing into the cars of different people there. The first is this fuckboy who's like, "Oh, but I won't know if you really love me if you don't go all the way." And she's like, "No, get out of here." And I'm like, "Did a Weinstein write this?" And then we hear just tremendous screaming from a woman, like in a good way. And she keeps saying, "Oh, mom, oh, mom." It is so funny, like calling her boyfriend mom, which, have you ever watched Doom Asylum?
Mm-mm.
Doom Asylum rips. It's still on Tubi, of course. It's an old slasher movie. It's one of my favorites, and it's very funny, like on purpose. And there's a woman in there, the like ditzy one. She's like, "I never knew my mom," and says to her boyfriend, "Can I call you mom?" And he's like, "What?" And later on, he like goes to he's like, "Hey, now that everyone's gone, maybe we can have sex." And she goes, "But that's incest, mom," and then runs away. It's so funny.
Oh, my God.
Nicole screams that here and there. And then we hear a man saying, like, "Hey, I know you've been cheating on me," and then says, "Your kisses are super hot, but your heart is as cold as ice." And guess what? That's a gay couple. Hell yeah.
Woohoo.
Because the person responds saying, "I'm sorry, Brad," or whatever his name is. And I liked it.
It was woke.
These goddamn woke. If I see a woke around me, I punch him in the mouth. I put him to sleep.
I would like to see you fighting someone.
I used to fight. I was an angry child. Very. Get it from my mom.
Ma.
Why did you say it like that?
There's this Family Guy sketch where Peter is trying to teach this Italian mom how to use an iPad. And then they start arguing about this thing that never happened. And Peter starts crying because she walks away. And she's like, "Well, now I have no sons." And he's like, "Ma."
Why would...
I don't know. I'm sorry.
I've seen most Family... I believe maybe every episode of Family Guy. But why would you expect me to know the ma bit?
Ma! I don't know. I wasn't. I don't... It just came out.
Okay. But
I had no control over that.
Okay, all right. Then we see the killer because... I think this bit, like, this is clearly like, hey, this is played for comedy, but also very resourceful. This person wants to use just electrical power tools, so they just have a red wagon being pulled around with a generator on it. So they have to rev it up, turn it on, plug it in, then turn on the power tools, and then just saws off a woman's head, like the top of her head. And it's amazing.
It was great. I was like, yes. this is what I signed up for.
And forces her boyfriend to, because like he puts her in the back seat door and like rolls up the window so they can't move, and then puts him in the front one so they're like facing each other, and then like saws off the top of the head. It's super, because it's the sorrowful tears of a virgin.
Wasn't it the brain first though? No, it was.
It was the brains, but maybe they were like, let's get some sorrowful tears of a virgin. That's why we're making them watch.
Two birds.
Mm-hmm.
Yep, got it.
Two birds, one scone. They'll be fighting over that scone.
Two birds, one cup.
Oh yeah, throw two birds in a cup.
Blech.
Or no, it's just two birds just leaking diarrhea into a cup.
And then pecking at it.
Yeah, throughout their cloaca. Eating it, then vomiting it into their children's mouth.
Okay, I'm sorry I said
it. So my friend John Davis, who frequented Jamie's house, was he fucking? We don't know, guys. He's a very handsome man. I hope he was. He used to do something like this whenever he went to parties. Something not like the two birds, one cup. Like he always wanted to be texting people, but he didn't want to be tethered to a wall, like right next to it. So he would carry around in his hoodie front pocket an extension cord so he could plug it in, then sit down wherever he wanted to. It was genius.
Oh my God. I thought this was going to turn into a commitment thing. Like,
oh, no. No, he was just a very ingenious boy.
I hope he finger banged everyone that he wanted. And they consented.
I was about to say someone who he might have finger banged, but I was like, I don't want to do speculation, and it's technically a family member.
Is it the same family member you mentioned earlier?
No. If my sister was getting finger banged by John Davis, she would be in jail because there's a huge age difference there. He's a year younger than me, and my sister's like 3 years older than me.
Oh, okay.
Like, they were not in high school at the same time, which is, you're like, okay, that's...
Okay, get out of here.
Or maybe, I don't know.
I hope not. Let's not incriminate your sister here.
I ring her up and I was like, hey, did you know John Davis? And she's like, oh, boy, do I know John Davis. I'm like,
John
no.
Davis.
And she's like, I had some fun with him last year. I'm like, thank God you didn't say back in high school, a.k.a. back when he was in middle school. Okay. Where are we?
I don't know. Where aren't we? Where we're supposed to be.
So detectives show up to this crime scene, and it's two detectives who are working this homicide case, and one of them's like, oh no, I don't want to go, pale-faced, and his partner's like, we have to, we're the dudes on duty. And he's like, no, let me get a coffee first. And it's like, no. And it's set up that this other dude's a vegetarian. I don't know why that's set up, but he is. So this man is afraid of blood, and they're like, it won't be as bad as last time, we promise, it's fine. And then it's just a woman, like, rolled up to the chin, with her neck in a window and the top of her head sawn off and her brain scooped out. How is that not so bad? Very mean. And so, like, they find this note inside, and it has... Why can't I think
hieroglyphics?
Thank you. Has hieroglyphics on it, and someone's like, hey, man, I think I can read that. Let me see it. And, like, there's this swelling score going on, and it's great. And when I first watched this, I was like, man, this score's getting really loud. This is pretty intense. And then you hear someone say, will you shut that off? And then it pans to someone who turns off a speaker, and then the score stops. I'm like, this movie fucking rules. I'm in for it. And that's when I messaged you, and I also just shut off the movie and said, Nicole, we have to watch this together.
Hell yeah. Yeah. I was like, okay. Like, I really liked the title, but I liked it so much more.
Oh, yeah.
Than I expected to.
Even Nicole, she's like, holy shit, I'm so glad you had me watch this. And then the dude throws up, and I guess there's a bet going on how many times this man will throw up on these homicide cases. And his partner is always betting. It's like, dude, to a point, like, even though you support your friend and you believe in him, if he keeps vomiting, stop. Maybe because he's like, oh, if he finally doesn't throw up, I'm going to make a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
They should have looped that back in at the end, after he technically pops a woman like a pimple. He should have been like, oh, hey, he didn't throw up this time. I get 10 grand.
Exactly. I get all of it.
So then they're interviewing the boyfriend. He's covered in blood and also in a straitjacket, I believe. And they're like, yeah. What do you remember? And he's like, oh, I only remember the hat. And they're like, okay, we'll be right back. They come back and they're like, they pull open this book and I'm like, fuck, I hope they're just showing him different hats. And they're like, was it this one? He's like, no. Was it this one? No. Then it pans over their shoulder and it's just a catalog of hats.
But did you see? He was freaking out saying the hat, but the guy was watching them. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so it was
Yeah, the killer was in the shadows and is noticed by the guy, and he's like, the hat, and because he's in a straitjacket, he can't point. It's also a very funny scene of physical comedy of the killer noticing he notices, and he's like, oh shoot, let me take off my hat real quick. This movie's great.
It really is. It's so fucking good. And I was just thinking the whole smoking sequence and just how they had to write that in for the ending. Mm-hmm. It's genius.
Yeah. Fuck, man. Okay, so then we find out why he's afraid of blood, which it's because in Vegas a couple years ago, or maybe, a few years ago, he was involved in a murder, like a homicide case, exactly like the one that's going on now. And his partner, shot this man a bunch of times, so many times, just kept shooting him, finally fell down. And then the guy gets back up. After this many times, Presley, what do you do? Do you keep shooting because you're like, oh, shoot, this guy is invincible. I need to keep shooting him, or he's going to come back for me? Or do you stop shooting him and be like, hey, don't come back for me because I stopped?
That's a tough question.
I think I just stop shooting and I immediately go to the FBI and I say, please put me in witness protection.
Exactly. I don't want to live anymore. I would shoot myself.
And hey, we get to a gun in the mouth scene soon. Because during this scene, this flashback, he slips on what I'm going to call the new banana peel, a severed ear. And he just goes right into a pile of blood and he's like, oh, no. And that's why he's scared of blood.
Yeah. No, I don't recall that.
Oh, you don't? But would you say severed ears are the new banana peels?
Yeah.
Throw one down?
Have you ever slipped on a banana peel?
No.
Yeah, it works. Don't do it.
Oh, you tried?
Yeah.
Hell yeah, dude. You just got this much cooler. You already it's not that much cooler because you're peak cool, but you somehow pushed the ceiling up. Are you going to, when was this?
Oh, it was just dumb fucking 12-year-old shit.
Okay.
You watch an episode of SpongeBob and someone slips on a banana peel and you're like, hey, does that work? So I did it and my friend thought I was joking because I actually slipped on it. Mm-hmm. So she ran at it and she whoop. It was fucking hilarious.
That's one of those things you got to do on a trampoline. I guess on the grass?
We had hardwood floors.
Yeah.
And it was pretty,
no.
It worked. It worked really well.
I mean, so you don't hurt yourself.
Oh, yeah, no. I see what you mean. Yeah. Somewhere cushioned if possible.
Yeah. I wrote down, have you been on an episode of Death from Above watching Sam and Max? Or was that Ian?
Oh, we both have.
Oh, hell yeah. Okay. Do you agree with this? This duo is the beta version of Sam and Max?
Yeah.
They eventually will get the job done, but in just wildly outlandish ways. But one, Sam and Max, are going in so confident. They'll get tied up and be like, hey, do you need help dropping us in the vat of fryer oil? And they're like, wait, you're supposed to be tied up. How are you standing right next to me about to pull this lever? And they're like, oh, you want us still tied up? All right, we'll go back there. But these dudes are just so sad. This is also a really grimy movie.
Yeah, like I'm just thinking about them separately. I'm like, yeah, no, one's really depressed. One has a very weird life and a weird wife.
Speaking of, because the man with the wife says, my life is full of purpose because of my wife. You need to get a wife as well, other partner who's sad and afraid of blood. And then we see his wife, who is literally toxic and figuratively toxic.
Yeah, like cancer and voice box.
Yeah, she's smoking, has a voice box, and she starts to sound like really garbly, and I'm like, oh wow, the effects are kind of bad in this. But then the guy says, hey, I can't hear a thing you're saying. You need to make sure you have fresh batteries. I'm like, this movie's so good.
It's great. It's really great.
And then we see that man, the afraid of blood detective. He goes to his apartment, and there is a sex worker outside, and it's the morning time, and she's in a raincoat. And I was like, who is this woman? And she's like, hey, work's been slow when it rains. And I'm like, oh, she's a sex worker. This is good. So she's like, hey, can I go up? It doesn't need to be for sex. I know you're afraid of women. It can just be for coffee. And he says, it's quitting time, honey. I got to go home and eat my oatmeal. And then goes upstairs. And the next time we see him, he's loading a handgun, and he puts it in his mouth. And I was like, oh, wait, like, what's going to happen? And then he just starts spraying alcohol into his mouth. It's a squirt.
I fucking loved that.
It's so good. It's like a real looking handgun, guys, but it's a squirt gun. Because he squirts it in, and then you see like him take it out and like refill it up with some alcohol. And then we see that sex worker get picked up by a man in a fez who's isn't just in like a full like leather morph suit.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then takes him into this like little buggy and just goes to town with this like hedge trimmer and sprays so much blood in this car.
It was really random because she's just like making small talk, and he just like turns all of his shit on in the back seat, and she's like, "Oh, hey, what are you doing?" Like,
oh, you like it kinky?
Yeah.
Oh, so then we go to the police department, and like the commissioner, the police chief, is berating these two for not solving this homicide case. And this man just keeps getting angrier and angrier and is just chucking things at them. And finally is like, I've had it up with you, and pulls out a gun and shoots them, but it shoots past them into a full police station. And then you hear like a water bottle drain, all of this stuff happen, and eventually you hear, oh my God, so-and-so was shot. We need an ambulance. He's like, I don't care what happens. This police chief is unhinged.
He really is.
Oh, and this is when we find out he has sexual problems. Like his wife left him after having sexual problems for another police detective, which I think is on this force now, possibly. Yeah,
and everyone fucking makes fun of him for it.
Uh-huh. I said, I've got a sexual problem. I'm having too much of it. My pee-pee hurts. Presley's face right now is, you are trying not to laugh. That's the face you are making because you're like, I cannot give him this. No.
I was going to say, hey, James, get out. Yeah, I got to go and end this podcast and never talk to you again.
In Amityville, the original, does the house scream get out? Or does just the priest scream, get out?
Ooh, I want to say it was the house.
Okay, I said this to Nicole and she got pissed. She's like, I can't believe I like went with you on this road. I was like, you want to know what? It's crazy how the Outback Steakhouse didn't, for advertising, contact the Amityville house so it could say, get out back steakhouse today.
I hate you so much.
I'm a little scamp.
That needs to happen because then I would eat Outback more.
We'll make it happen. I'll make a TikTok of it. Then we see Dee Dee Taylor, who was called in because Dee Taylor was someone who was the other person working on that case, but he's gone missing. And then Dee Dee shows up. Well, he's putting the gun in his mouth and runs up and is like, you don't need to do it, man. You don't need to do it. And he's like, shoots her with it. And she's like, oh, it's just gun. And then he goes to turn it back to his mouth. And she's like, hey, don't do that, man. It's still not fun to see. And this woman, she is so good at acting. Like when she needs to look sad, she has a sad face. When she needs to, she's so convincing in her facial acting. I hope this individual just was lauded in whatever theater she was in.
Totally.
And there's a great line between the two. The guy who knew her as a child says, yeah, she was always a weird kid. And the dude with the chain smoking wife says, now she's a weird big person. Then we see the chain smoker goes to like therapy or rehab for smoking, where their slogan is you'll quit or else.
It's like a weird like conversion camp thing. Like it's not good.
Oh, and here are the ways they try to get them to stop smoking. First are smoking-induced tragedy films, like, oh, hey, guys, we're on an airplane and we're all smoking. Oh, we're all in a business building, we're all smoking. And you keep seeing it, like, both quick cutting until it's like, oh, no, we're going to crash into this building. And it's like, that's because you were smoking.
Yeah. And then that makes her want to smoke more. She's like, I'm fucking stressed out.
And then a gorilla with a fire hose comes out. They shock her as well. And then a man named, I think, Harry or Henry, who just like when she smokes, he just straight up punches her.
And then they just mercilessly gang beat her at one point, too.
Yeah. I think that's with the zappers, right?
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
The fire hose looked dangerous.
All of it was bad.
No, I mean like for real, like in real life, the fire hose stunt would have been dangerous. We find out that the body is like one big long string because the man like sucks out a woman's entrails. Or I guess the killer does. We don't know if it's a man or a woman yet.
The person, the human.
The killer. And I just liked that the body is like one big long string. And during this, we are seeing another murder, and the sexual problem is brought up again by they're at a playground by the vegetarian man, the one with the toxic wife, and the man with the sex problem. And he just starts wailing on him. He's like, don't you ever talk. I don't want anyone ever saying that. And he's like, it's just a joke. And the police chief, because he pulls out his gun, the one who's afraid of blood, and the police chief says, do it. Don't hesitate. Just shoot him. And it's like, dude, calm down, man. Imagine your boss, like two people get into a fight and your boss is egging it on like that.
I could totally see all my coworkers doing that, but just because they like don't know what to do.
Yeah. I don't have a sexual problem. And if I did, it wouldn't be because of this beautiful roasted coffee. That gets my dick real hard.
Ew.
That should be your slogan. Let your boss know I came up with a slogan.
I will tell him that.
Coffee's so smooth, it'll get that dick hard. We'll figure out a better way to say it, but
oh my God, it'd be like a good slogan, like rise and shine, but it's just like an erect dick.
Ooh, yeah.
I hate myself.
Dude, don't.
I'm not happy with the person I am right now.
Guess what? You're going into marketing.
I'll braid your hair for you.
Me?
Yeah.
Oh,
I'm braiding my hair right now.
and I'm
sorry.
pulling mine out. Literally, like that. That's I do that. I accidentally, all the pennies at the convention that we had with us just spilled on the floor. I was the money man. I was like, darn it. And as I was picking up the pennies around my area, just so much of my hair was being picked up as well. And that was like, I was good at not pulling it out during the convention, but nah.
Do you like not notice when you do it?
It's just, I know why I do it. It's the thing that always gets bleeped out, can't talk about it. But I mean, that's when it started, and now it's just a habit. And when I don't have hair on top, I'll pull out my beard hair, I'll pull out my chest hair, my thigh hair. That's why I usually wear a hat. But I like, they go down into the coroner's office. And
this scene made me want to fucking throw up.
Yeah, because they're like, oh, it's not so bad. Oh, no, they don't say that. They say, in my professional opinion, it's absolutely vile, which is me when I get some podcast edits. I'm like, guys, your recording was absolutely vile. You need to figure out that static noise in the background. Why are you holding your microphone while you record?
It was a weird group of coroners. I hated it. And they're all eating, and it's like a potluck.
It was the tomato tuna casserole, which makes them throw up. It's bad.
Ew, and they're like trying to dish it up with their gloves that were just inside a body. Ugh. I was like, I think I might be physically sick from this right now.
Oh my. Never mind. I was going to go back to the fingering stuff.
I was hate you.
I know someone who's had some gloved fingers in them.
Ew.
It's crazy. Like, everyone should just...
I have.
Oh, yeah. Professionally, probably?
Yeah.
Okay.
No. No. I don't want to talk about
Okay. I mean, people should be... Like, if you want a finger bang, just, like, throw a glove on. It'll be smooth sailing. Don't need to worry about nails.
I can't talk about this. Yeah.
I once had a friend be like, hey, I got you a present, and then handed me a condom. And I was like, you know I'm in a long-term relationship and I have a vasectomy? And they're like, so? Maybe you need it sometime. And I was like, I will never use this. And I was like, why do you need this? You, at the time, are a lesbian.
Oh, that's fun.
I guess, like, you should still, if you are sharing sex toys, you should still be wearing a condom on it just to be safe.
Can you get STDs from sex toys? Like, probably, right?
If it has the juices on it.
How did we end up here?
I don't. Oh, gloved fingers? You're the one who brought it up.
I said nothing.
You said they had the gloved fingers going into casserole, scooping it out.
Oh, okay. See, and you went off the rails. Okay.
Yes.
What happens next?
So they're at the smoker's house, and she is over here, who is very jealous of, like, oh, you probably, was the dead woman beautiful? And he's like, no, her brains were scooped out. Come on, I only have eyes for you. They're very smoky and hazy when I see you, but come on. She is like sitting down, hearing them talk about the bloodsucking pharaohs. And I thought this was going to string into her being like, oh, I could still smoke and live forever and be beautiful. I'll start bloodsucking. Who cares? But that's not the case.
That would have been a nice twist, though.
Yeah, because it keeps zooming in on her while they're talking about it. And I was like, well, clearly that's what they're setting up. But no.
Well, wasn't she just like mean mugging the Dee?
Yeah.
The whole time.
Then they go to they have to go to Little Egypt because that's like the whole plot line and whatnot. And they go to a restaurant where it's a woman dressed up in like ancient Egyptian garb. And she's also on roller skates. And I'm like, the things managers will put service workers through just to be like, that's our hook, isn't it, guys? And it's like, no, just sell good food. What's up?
There's a baby in the back. He's
Oh.
clawing at the door.
Henry wants out of the room right now.
Oh, baby.
All right, we got a few more notes to get through. The cook was complaining about like the roller skater of like how come she gets lessons. I think that was the case. And the boss goes, "She's beautiful, you're fat and stupid."
Yeah, you're fat and ugly and blah, blah, blah.
It was mean. And then he's like,
It was mean.
Yeah, and he's like, "Oh, I'll give you waitress lessons." And it's like, what are waitress lessons? And we find out waitress lessons are just boudoir photos.
Yes.
When she goes, so speaking about sex toys, this was a fantastic bit. Dee Dee goes to a hotel to like get close, and she's like, "Oh, this I think is where things are going down. I'll get closer to the guy who owns this place, who is probably affiliated with the bloodsucker. I need to let him out real quick. I'm only wearing underwear. That's why I moved the camera."
I wanted to see the baby.
See you, Henny.
I understood though.
Dee Dee's there, and when she's getting checked in, the guy's like, "Oh, would you like any of our concierge service?" And she's like, "Oh, no, like I won't need to eat or anything." And he's like, "No." And then he pulls up this like pegboard that is just sex toys and vibrators. And he's like, "Would you like one for your stay?" And she's like, "No, thank you." And it's so funny.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty hilarious. I was so confused. I'm like, why? Like, why?
Well, we kind of find out this is mainly a place where people fuck.
Yeah, it's like one by the hour.
Uh-huh. But it would be cool, like, we can give you like an extra cot for people to sleep on. Why not? We can give you wake up service. We'll call you at a specific time. Just give us a dildo. But it is like a motel communal sex toys, which could be someone's kink of like, 100 people use this. Hell yeah.
Ew.
Hey, maybe that's my kink. Don't shame me.
Ew.
Looking directly into camera. Okay. So then, like, it flash forwards. All of a sudden, like these ninjas show up. I think they're ninjas, aren't they?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, they show up at to the detectives, and they're like pulling off like suits and stuff to like show like they're ninjas. And then the smoker's husband goes, "I don't think they're kidding, Joe." They're not kidding, Joe, as they're just like swiping at him with a long sword.
Yeah.
Then Dee Dee is kidnapped, and we find out that it's a woman all along, and she was the daughter of the person that was shot and killed, and she is going after her uncle, who is the like informant who made the police wise to the previous man trying to like take all these bodies for forever life. And just with a staple gun, like crucifies in a way to hold down Dee Dee, just staple gunning someone's hands to keep them stationary is fucked. Something your precious Art the Clown might do. Except no, he'd do too, and then like on a dude's deedle would staple down that.
He would get weird with it.
Mm-hmm. And then we get Fear from a Virgin, Taken in Sorrow, which sounds like me on prom night.
But they had her dad too.
Yes, Dad was there as well. But hey, we found her dead. That's cool. And then they throw the uncle in this vat of just insanity, and they put the tears in, and with this like long axe looking thing just keeps pushing his head down like you're making a big thing of fruit punch. And Tom Savini, applause, because this man's face melts off in one of the greatest practical effects out there. It's so cool. It was
wonderful.
Oh my
God.
God.
So good.
Watch this just for that. Then a big chase scene happens because the wife shows up after she's been electrocuted, and the toxic wife, and every time the killer runs, she's somehow in shadow terrifying her, but because she has lightning and thunder's happening and she has the voice thing, it sounds like she's a god. And the person's like, no, no. And he eventually brings them to a compactor, and the killer gets squished and blood flies on the guy's face. And he's like, I'm fine with this now. And now the other dude's puking. The end.
It was good. What did they cut? They said she was Anubis or something.
Yeah, something like that.
I think it was Anubis. Yeah. It was. And that is why they did the whole smoking bit. All along, it all centered on her being Anubis. And I fuck with that.
Also, when she was like getting squeezed, the smoker's husband, that detective, was reading her rights. And they're like, shut up. And he's like, I gotta read her rights, Joe.
Oh, this is like one of those movies where I would watch it again just to watch it.
Mm-hmm. I think I gave it like a 4 out of 5 or a 5 out of 5. I don't remember.
I'd give it a 4.
Hell yeah, dude. We're already off to a great start in 1991.
Yeah, I'm excited.
Well, speaking of excitement, are you excited to pull this bucket, Stein?
Yes.
All right, we got a lot of movies this year, or, like this literal year. So you just tell me when to stop.
Stop.
Okay. I grabbed the first one I could find after you said stop. All right. The next movie we are doing is, oh my God, it's one that I know for sure is available. I've heard about it, and I know you've probably seen it. It is Wes Craven's The People's Under the Stairs.
I love that movie. I own it, so I've seen it so many times too.
Hell
I'm excited.
Yeah. I've never seen it.
Oh my God. It's really good.
All right. Hell yeah, guys. So next, or in 2 weeks, The People Under the Stairs.
That is where Ian and I got our name for our podcast that we don't do anymore right now.
Yeah, I should have been like, well, clearly, I know you've seen this. I know you've seen this probably. No, of course. And speaking of things you might be doing, you got anything to plug?
Well, Old Parents Under the Stairs, I suppose. And that's we're on a hiatus because our life is complex.
Mm-hmm. You got a child biting.
We have opposite schedules.
Mm-hmm. And hey, you leave him alone, all of a sudden, power goes out. He's looking like Anubis because he just somehow bit an outlet?
Yeah, you can't leave him alone because he's gonna wake up dead.
Uh-huh.
You can't be doing that.
That'd be cool. He'd be undead.
That'd be sad. Okay, what do you have to plug?
Well, I mean, he'd still like grow. He's just undead now.
No, that's not how zombie facts work.
This is how this zombie facts work.
Okay, fair.
All right. He just gets that category. He's undead. He's like Marceline. Wait, does Marceline from Adventure? Okay, you want to know what? The undead don't grow. You will forever have a baby boy. Isn't that pretty cool?
Woohoo!
But he doesn't need to eat. He's undead. Maybe some brains here and there. He's scooping them out.
Ew.
Then you're throwing up.
Ugh.
Hey guys, listen to my other podcast, MLMpod.com. Listen to my music under Marshland Monster. Just released a single with Dragon Boy Suede. Check that out. Got new stuff coming in the pipe. Anal Dentata, the single will be coming out in October, maybe late September. We have the single, the extended mix, the instrumental, and then we're going to have so many remixes by myself and other people. It's already maybe 7 tracks of just one song remixed and all redone. It'll be a good time. And then please head over to patreon.com/MLMpod, where for $5 a month, you get exclusive content every single Friday. But if you're in the generous mood, you can get all of that content by bumping up to the $10 tier, but also monthly exclusive content. That's how you'll get that Uncle Sam episode. And what else do we do? Oh yeah, shout outs on every single free feed podcast. So let's begin with those, starting with Steve F, Eric Berry of Ranger Command Power Hour, Alex Z the Waz, Orion, he'll be remixing. He just sent me some stuff. Oh, at first I thought I wasn't. Never mind, that's camera stuff.
You're perfect.
Jordan B, the Chaos Witch, my Bickle brother in common law, Joshua Jacobs, Steve Barnes, A Sweet Child of Time. That's coming back soon, guys. Wheel of Time Season 2, yay, yay. The Womb in Which I Emerged, my mother, Lil Corey's BFF, and now former roommate Shane, That Fed, twitch.tv/Core Winning. It's Corwin, and from the Rom Complex and the podcast I do with them, Formulaic, a podcast in script writing, and twitch.tv/R2Shelby2. It's R2Shelby2. I've been James.
I'm still Presley.
And we've been the height of horror. Bye-bye. Bye. Oh, yeah.